Hello and welcome to Legendary Tractors. My name is Ryan and today I got something kind of special for you. We are at the Canandaigua, New York Steam Pageant. It's a yearly event with 4 days of tractors and farming and steam engines. And anyway, I'm going to start with some tractors today. Right now we're kind of in front of the International Harvester exhibit. We have across the way we got some stuff for Allis Chalmers. In fact, next year will be a really great show because the Gathering of the Orange will be here from August 6th through the 9th of 2025. So definitely something to look forward to next year, but I got a lot of good stuff for you today too. So this is the International exhibit. Got ourselves a really nice McCormick Deering 1020 crawler. Somebody did an awesome job of redoing that. And then part next door, better than new Farmall Super H. That thing is just immaculate. Gotta love that. So this is probably one of my favorite internationals of all time. 1256. That thing is just absolutely perfect. Again, this is another one somebody did up real nice. So this 1256 is a 1968 vintage. They made them from 67 to 69. The 1256 came with a DT 407 engine, I believe. It made about 113 PTO horsepower, and the cost in 1969 was roughly $10,000. Next up, we got us a really nice Farmall Super MTA. Did a really nice job of restoring that one. And we walk around back, we've got the IH 2-point fast hitch with an IH plow on it, model 312 plow. Kind of sort of a semi-mounted arrangement before the semi-mounted was actually a term, I guess. The tail wheel's adjustable by hydraulics. Got us another Farmall Super MTA, this one with a factory wide front. Again, somebody done a nice job with that one. Kind of like the homemade weight setup on the front. That's kind of a nice addition. So the Super MTA was built in 1954 only. It was the last version of the Farmall Super M, which came out in 52. And the difference with the TA, which stood for torque amplifier, which basically was kind of a 2-speed power shift transmission. And that's this lever right here. That's basically it. Just pull it back and it drops you down essentially half a gear. Maybe not quite half, but you push it forward and it just speeds you right back up. No clutching involved. Just kind of became something that IH continued on through the rest of their years. The Super M made about 54 horsepower, give or take. Growing up, my dad actually purchased a Super M when I was in high school, and when I went to college, I took agricultural engineering at SUNY Morrisville, and I took my Super M to there as part of one of the projects that I had to do, and we kind of went all the way through it, restored it. It was a pretty darn good looking tractor. I guess it's probably one of life's biggest regrets is I wound up selling that, but it is what it is. So this is a tractor that probably everybody that's an IH fan just thinks is the cat's meow. And it is. The 1066 is probably one of the most awesome tractors ever built. Whether you like IH or not, they're about as bulletproof as it got. And there's many of them out there still working on farms today. So the 1066 was built from 1971 to 1976. There was approximately 54,947 of them built. Don't quote me on that, but it's pretty close to that number, I think. The 1066 came more with the standard red and white paint scheme up until 1976. Let's see if we can find something that's a little more similar. So here's an 826, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but it's kind of more of what the paint scheme on the 1066 looked like back in the day. In 1976, IH came out with the black stripe version of this tractor. They did away with the red and white and just went to all red with the black stripe. One that kind of looks like a hockey stick sitting on its side, I think. I don't know if that's how other people look at it, but that's how I kind of describe them. And anyway, everybody wants the black stripe one, even though there really ain't any difference between the rest of them. I don't know if this is actually truly a 76 or not, but many of them got repainted and this decal, but it is one sharp looking tractor. And next up we got this little Farmall 140, and these were started out really back in mid 40s with a Farmall Model A tractor, which evolved into the Super A, and then the 140 I think was the next version of that. So kind of have what's called the Farmall cultivation. So basically all your controls are offset to the one side, so that when you're cultivating rows of whatever, it just basically you can look right down and see the rows instead of having a front of the tractor in front of you. Interestingly enough, there's many other manufacturers that kind of copied the idea, including Oliver and Ford, John Deere. They all had later versions of vegetable farming tractors that were offset like this. So speaking of the cultivation, this is a Farmall Cub. The Cub was probably the longest tractor that IH actually produced. I think they started in 1947 and ended in 1979. And went through many different sheet metal changes, but the underlying tractor is pretty much the same. And the Cub really started the cultivation process. It's a little smaller than the A and the 140 that we just looked at. These were a very handy little tractor. So the Cub put out a whole whopping 10 horsepower, give or take. But it certainly was a huge advancement over farming with horses and whatnot, and that's kind of sort of one of the things that the Cub did, is actually start replacing horses in 1947. Next up we got ourselves a International 826 Hydro, and it is gasoline powered, which not sure how many gasoline powered ones they made, honestly. Still was probably somewhat common back in the day, but this is about the time frame when people were actually starting to move towards diesels, so a little bit less common. The other unique feature of this tractor is it's got a hydrostatic transmission in it. The 826 could be either a gear drive with a torque amplifier, or a hydrostatic, which basically give you they had a high and low range on it, and then you had the hydrostatic, which basically was infinitely speed control. So worked really nice for not so much tillage work, but for things like mowing hay or cultivating or things like that. Yeah, even tillage work they did all right, but certainly it was bit of a strain on things, I think. They also worked really nice for loader work, and this one's actually got a loader frame on it. Here I see. So it looks like they got the loader off right now. But another 560. This one is LP gas powered, so obviously there was actually 3 different versions that they had: LP gas, the diesel, and gasoline powered. Got ourselves a nice little Farmall Super C. This is kind of got the big guy seat on there, but something a little different. But anyway, the Super C kind of brings back a lot of good memories in a way. My neighbor had a couple of them, and one of them, interestingly enough, wound up breaking the crankshaft right in half, and between the second and third prod vanes. So I don't think that there's actually a journal there for your main bearings. I can't remember, it's been a long time, but anyway, they hired me because kind of was knew I'd rebuilt my Super M, and said, why don't you come over and see if you can fix this. So we tore that engine apart and tore it all down in the neighbor's garage, and got her up and going again, and as far as I know, it's still going today. So Super C built from 51 through 54. It was replaced by the 200 at that point. And the 200, 230s and whatnot continued on, and it really wasn't a major change with any of those tractors. It kind of just more cosmetic than anything. But anyway, it made about 23 PTO horsepower, give or take. And it's another one kind of tractors that, you know, the predecessor to the Super C was the C. And, you know, this was what replaced horses back in the day, you know. And then as time went on, farms got a little bigger. It wound up, they started taking on the role of the second and third tractor on the farm, you know, the ones that hauled the wagons and raked the hay and things like that. But you know, they were certainly a game changer when the Farmall C came out. Got us a 1957 Model 230 Farmall, and this is really just an updated version of the Super C. It does have a fast hitch on the back though, which is kind of an important thing. I don't think that Super C had one, that don't, but you know, this made hooking and unhooking implements a whole lot easier. You got a really great looking Farmall M. This one was built in 1939 according to the sign on it. And again, these were kind of a little ahead of, or these were for the big farmers that you know, were probably farming close to 100 acres back in the day. Maybe not quite, but I'm gonna wager this one might have actually came on steel when it was brand new. Looks to me like they took and cut the spokes off for the steel wheels and then welded the rims on for it. Can't say for sure, but that's sort of what I get out of that. I remember reading somewhere there was a special deal about those rims too, and I can't remember what it was. So maybe one of you folks can leave me a comment and tell me what you think about those. Got ourselves a 6588 Anteater. Well, at least that's what I call them. A lot of people call them Snoopies, whatever. IH called them 2+2s. This is kind of the later generation. I'll give you a little more data in a minute here, but the very unique machine. I don't know, I've never had a chance to run one. I sure would like to play with one someday, just because something a little different. So the 6588 was actually built between 1981 and 84, I think, actually, and that's when Case wound up buying out Tenneco merged Case and International together, and that was the end of the 2+2. So the 6588 made about 150 PTO horsepower, give or take, and I don't know, just got the job done. Next up, we got a couple. These are kind of unique. Interesting thing was they did not sell well when they were brand new. So that being said, they're pretty well sought after now. We got a 1468 and a 1568 sitting side by side. They were essentially the same as a 1566 and a 1466, except that the International pulled out the I think those were DT 436 engines and put in the V8s, which was a truck engine, and I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what model that was. But anyway, they about the same horsepower and what have you, but I think they just didn't really have the same kind of torque or lugging ability, although I recall looking them up a while back and it really wasn't drastically different. Just for whatever reason, they just did not sell well back in the day, so a lot of them got scrapped, and so now they're big dollar items if you want one. So, but they are cool looking with the twin stacks, I'll give them that. Another sweet looking little Cub. This thing's had so many different attachments for them, both made by International and by other manufacturers. This has got the front mounted grader blade on it, or actually it could be taken off, and with changing some of the arrangements of how it actually hooks up, the blade can actually be put underneath the tractor and it can be turned into kind of a grader, which honestly, in some respects, kind of fixing things around the farm or whatever, that's probably a nice little feature. So this must be the year of the Super MTA here. I don't know, but anyway, I already showed you the two. There's number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 7. So there's at least 7 of them here. There's probably maybe some more kicking around. I don't know. It's just kind of cool to see them all lined up like that. So I was saying earlier that I had a Super M, not all that different from probably this unit here, other than mine had a aftermarket wide front end under it, which I've not seen any of those yet, but mine front end was made by a company called Schwartz. This one is a 1953 model, and yes, the sign actually says so, but I'll tell you how you can actually tell the difference between a 52 and a 53 is this starter housing has 3 bolts in it, and that's how they came at 53. 52s had 2 bolts, which are basically the same as the Farmall M's, so this predecessor. So that was one of the upgrades from a 52 to a 53, and then when 54 came along and you got the TA. So now I think we're about done with the H's. Let's talk about a few other tractors they got around here. And you may notice I'm not talking about every single unit here, just because, well, there's only 4 days of the show and I'm only going to be here for 3 of them, and we still probably wouldn't cover them all. So I would love to have one of these little Allis Chalmers D12. I don't know why I want one, but they're just cute and I kind of like them. So, you know, I don't know if this one's actually even got the full 3-point headshot, you know. A lot of times you just find them with the snap couplers on them. So the D12 was made from 1957 through 1968. It actually came with a couple different engine versions. They both were gasoline powered, but one was 2.3 liters and one was 2.4 liters. I'm not sure when they made the switch. Both versions made about 30 horsepower on the power takeoff. And next up we got us a really nice Allis Chalmers 200. Kind of just wouldn't mind having one of these neither, but it would certainly go well with the farm that me and my brother are doing now. Unique things about these is these actually, you know, they're the lineage from the D series all the way back to the D19. They just kept on progressing, adding things on, and kept bumping the horsepower up. So even though this tractor was probably 74-ish, somewhere in there, still had kind of a semi-live PTO arrangement on it instead of the full live, because it was just something that was a carryover from back in the day. They had more horsepower, wound up with a 200. You know, the early 190 XTs were the next version after the D19. Had some transmission issues as far as rear end issues, actually. The bow gear's not holding up, and the later versions of the XT kind of got that solved. And they went and rebeefed them up again in the 200. So I did a video not too long ago on the 200, so if you want to get a little more information about the 200, be sure to go back and check that out. Next up, this was John Deere's big dog back in the day. The John Deere Model R was the first diesel powered tractor that John Deere built. I did a video about the John Deere's two-cylinder big dogs, and that included the Model D and the R and the 820, 830, 80, all those. Again, go back, check that one out too. That's a very interesting part of John Deere history right there. So this one kind of brings back some memories for back in the day. The farm I worked on in high school, the farmer had a 901 kind of like this. Just talking to the owner of this. Anyway, this one actually probably started out as a 961 because it had a selecto speed, and the original owner pulled that out and put the 5-speed back into it. But anyway, it's for sale if anybody's looking for a really nice 501 or 901. Sorry about that. Got ourselves a really sweet looking little Massey-Harris Mustang here. So the Mustang was part of Massey-Harris's horse-themed tractors, I guess we'll call them. You know, they had the Mustang, they had the Pony, which is lots of ponies around. Although I haven't seen one yet today, but I'm sure there's one here. They had the Colt. And then I think they had one called the Pacer, and there might have been one more. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but anyway, you know, maybe you viewers can enlighten me about whatever, if there was any other versions that may have been out there, but I know there was at least those 4. Next up, we got a couple hours to show you. We got a 60, a 70, and an 80. Cool thing about the 60 and the 70 was that they were what was called the fleet line tractors, and they had the engines were actually covered with a side metal, kind of made them all nice and streamlined. Very sharp looking machines for back in the day. Gotta love that multicolored paint job, red, green, and yellow. Very distinguished looking machines. Got us a little John Deere 40. This tractor was made in Dubuque, Iowa, at the Dubuque Tractor Works out there. They made started out with a John Deere M right after World War II, I think in like 47-ish, somewhere in there, and that evolved into the 40, and then the 420, and then the 430, and then I think maybe like the 1010 series. Anyway, I did make a video about the Dubuque Works and the tractors, so if you want to know a little bit more about the 40, head back to that and take a look. This was kind of unique. I don't know anything about it, quite honestly. Just kind of tried to take a peek at the internet and see what is out there. And seems there was a guy named, I think his name was John Friday, and he built tractors in Hartford, Michigan back in the day. He kind of looks like they were mostly hand built. I don't know exactly what the story is on how this one got here, but there is a sign on it that said this is an orchard tractor, built in 1940, one of 143 built. So got a little flathead engine in there. Not sure what brand that might be. I don't know if it's a Ford maybe, because obviously Ford was pretty infamous for its flatheads back in the day, but so were a lot of other companies, so I don't know. But kind of unique, something you just don't see every day. Got a John Deere 620, and it kind of still in its work clothes. Looks like it's still earning its keep every day. A really nice looking 3010 diesel John Deere, the narrow front end. The kind of think about how much it revolutionized farming when these things came out. I mean, we went from kind of the, well, I mean, John Deere called them the new generation tractors, and that probably really is a good description. Great looking little 50 here. Kind of always wanted to have one of those. Never got one, but sure are nice. So growing up, we had a John Deere 60 on the farm, which is what this one is. This one certainly is still earning her keep, and to a certain degree by the looks of it, she's definitely had a Rust-Oleum restoration at some point along the way. But this brings back a lot of memories too. Like I said, we had one on the farm when I was growing up. I can remember a lot of nights, evenings, plowing ground, and that stack was just, those manifolds were just cherry red. Nothing like it, hearing that bark as you're going along. One of the other memories I have too is we had an Allis Chalmers 72 combine, and we'd grown a bunch of buckwheat one year, and anyway, I would come home from school, and because buckwheat was ready to harvest in September-ish, sometime in there, and jump on the tractor and go combine for 3 or 4 hours with that, and I don't know, we did almost 100 acres that year, I think, different places. Took a while. 72's only got a 6-foot head, so not setting any speed records, but it sure did give a nice sample of grain. That was probably one of the nicest combines around for that. They got it done, and I don't know, just like I said, some really good memories. So next up we got a Oliver Super 44. This is Oliver's version of the Farmall 140 that we looked at before, or Farmall A, whatever you want to call it. These are actually pretty rare. They did not build that many of them. But nice part about the Olivers is it had a full 3-point hitch on the back, and then keeping with, I think these actually had live power takeoff too. Could be wrong. I don't think so though. I think they had live. So pretty darn handy tractor back in the day. Why they didn't sell so much, I don't know. Maybe just because International had the market share on them at that point. But got us a nice, really nice Oliver 880 diesel, which probably a little bit ahead of its time, or maybe it was just the right tractor of its time, I guess. But you know, other manufacturers were kind of having to do some funny things to get their diesels to start. Like IH would start on gasoline, switch over just because of compression issues. John Deere had a lot of pony motor stuff on theirs. And, in fact, I don't think John Deere, let's see, what year is this? This is a 58, so yeah, John Deere would have been out with the 720 with their pony motor at that point. So this was a direct start, turn the key, started up, more like a modern day unit. I believe this motor was actually built by Waukesha in conjunction with Oliver. The just kind of a really nice tractor. It was kind of the big horse of Oliver. Well, it's Oliver's big row crop horse anyway. They had the 990, which featured the GM diesels at that time. But anyway, this one also has a 3-point hitch of some sort on it. It's actually not a 3-point hitch. I forget what they actually call this. I've seen it on a couple of the different Oliver shows. I think the Oliver guy, or Ross, the Oliver man, have actually discussed this type of hitch at length. So shout out to them. Maybe they want to go check out their video on that type of thing. I found us a nice little Massey-Harris pony that I was telling about. It goes along with that Mustang that we saw earlier. The interesting thing about the pony, in my opinion, I guess, is, you know, it's kind of the same size as the Farmall A, and that maybe the Super 44, probably a little smaller than that. But anyway, they did not opt to go and do a side mount cultivation. They just kept the tractors conventional with the, you know, powertrain running right down between the legs of the operator. I don't know, is what it is. So this got another 1066 International, and this one's got the paint scheme, like I was saying, that came out prior to 1976. Got the white and red. Honestly, this looks like it's pretty original. Can't say for sure, but I doubt that narrow front end is. The steps obviously are not, but the rest of it looks pretty straightforward, pretty well kept for being darn near 50 years old. This one is actually a standard version instead of a row crop. The one we looked at earlier was a row crop. Tell that by the round fenders on the back. These were sold not so much around here in Western New York. They were something that would wind up out on the Great Plains somewhere. Another Super MTA, so I don't remember the last count now. I think we're up to 7, 8, 9, something like that. And right next to it, we got a 52 Super M. Remember how I said that they only had 2 bolts on the 52? Well, there you go. I'd say they did a really nice job of doing that Super M up. Kind of impressed. Mine looked a lot like that, except like I said, mine had had a wide front end made by the Schwartz company, so it was a little different. It had the tie rods actually went to the back instead of the front. This is actually think this front end was actually only available in 52 maybe, before they went to a different style. This is one that I think actually came, it's set up so that when you put your cultivators on, it's got a little tie rod ball here to help actually steer the cultivators around plants and stuff. Kind of a unique idea. That is one really nice looking John Deere 70. It's a gas instead of diesel, but man, is that's about as straight as they get right there. Somebody did a nice job, at least on the exterior part of it. I'm sure the rest of it's probably just as good as the inside. So I think this paint scheme right here, the Ferguson had for the Model 40 tractor, is probably one of the prettiest paint schemes ever done. And I think they only just did it on the 40. But this tractor was built just before Massey-Harris and Ferguson merged. And so you'll actually see them with the Ferguson, and it's called the Model 40 is the Ferguson. You see them with Massey-Harris decals on them, and that's called a Model 50. And then you also see them with Masey Ferguson decals on them, and also a Model 50. But essentially all the same tractor. But, very, very pretty tractor. Well, the Ferguson 35 kind of had a pretty nice looking paint scheme too, in a way. Had the green and gray, and pretty sharp. And we got the Model 50 Masey Ferguson, which is identical to that Ferguson 40 for the most part, but like I said, it's red and gray instead of that cream and gray. And truthfully, this is pretty sharp looking as well with the red and gray. Certainly wouldn't kick her out of bed, I guess, but kind of pretty. So next up, we got something pretty unique here. Appears to be originally a Ford 8N that somebody has swapped a 289 Ford V8 into. Did a pretty nice job on it by the looks of it. Things are pretty well thought out. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's an electric fan underneath there to kind of keep things cool. But adapted the alternator and everything for it. It looked like they had to do a ton of stuff to it to make it all fit. They had to change the frame up just a little bit, or build the frame. It's probably I can't remember on the 8Ns, but I think they had I think the motor actually supported most everything on those, but I could be wrong. Maybe we'll find one here somewhere that we can compare. All in all, nice job. So this one's I'm going to guess another one of the orphan tractors that were built after World War II. Waterloo Bronco. Don't know too much about it. Don't see any signs on it, but just thought I'd let you see it. And again, something you don't see every day. I think this is what we ought to refer to as a fat bottom girl. I guess if you're Freddie Mercury, you know, make the rock and roll go round. John Deere 830, one of the last big diesel versions before we went to something else. I think. So the unique thing about the 830, some of them actually came with electric start, which I believe this one has. So most of them had a pony motor. At that time they were a 4-cylinder pony motor. Just kind of a Kind of a big bad tractor instead. Got a really nice 70 standard sitting here, and then another 80 standard. So 80 would have been diesel, and like I was saying, it has a pony motor to start it. I can't remember whether the 80 had a 4-cylinder or 2-cylinder, but anyway, again, I made a video about the big dogs that John Deere put out a while back, and includes the 80 and the R 830 Model Ds. So maybe something you might be interested in going back and checking out. John Deere 430, another Dubuque tractor. So this is kind of another tractor that brings back some good memories. We had a Model A on the farm. It was a late model. You can tell the late models are made from 47 through 52. When the way to tell them is that they have this stamped steel frame along the side. And late versions, you can tell this is a later version because the rear axle housing is square. The earlier ones were rounded up, kind of a round tube. So, according to the sign, this one's a 51. We had a 52 on the farm back in the day. And got some really good memories with that one. We had a 7-foot bush hog, real bush hog, model 307 bush hog that we'd pull with that, and wound up bush hogging a lot of fields and stuff with that, cleaning up the farm. I got a little creative and made a little bit of a custom unit for doing some tractor parades, I'm thinking, kind of thing. That one's pretty fun, that's what it is. Not sure, it looks like it's got a selectro speed in it. Not sure which model that one will be. I'm guessing it's 861 maybe. Got a few more John Deeres kicking around, and then we got an Allis Chalmers WD-45 that somebody else made kind of a parade tractor out of. Real late model John Deere G. Don't have a whole lot of experience with the G, but neighbor had one when I was growing up. They do have a particular bark to them. When that thing pops, you know it's a G. That's another really nice looking Allis 200 from about the mid 1970s. Actually got a whole row of nice Allis stuff coming up here. Got an Italian stallion right there. That's what I call them anyway. The Allis Chalmers 5050 was actually built by Fiat. I don't know that they're identical, but man, they look pretty much the same. So. But there's a lot of 50-50, 50-40. There's a couple other ones there too. But Fiat wound up marketing these tractors to Oliver, Minneapolis Moline, Cockshot, White. Trying to think, there might have been one or two more too there. But they're all pretty similar tractors. It just basically got different sheet metal on them. So not saying that a 50/50's parts will fit on an Oliver 1265, but that's something pretty damn close. Got a great looking D19. As I was saying, you know, this is the first this is actually the first turbocharged tractor that was ever built by any tractor manufacturer in the United States, and it started the horsepower race for the bigger stuff. So the D19 It turbo, and then you know, they always took it and upgraded it to the 190, then the 190 XT, and that's when the back end started to fall apart a little bit. Not you know, not that that's probably unexpected, but it happened. They you know, took care of that, and then it evolved into that 200 that we just saw a few minutes ago. Got a nice looking Allis 160. The 160 was actually built by Renault in France for Allis Chalmers. You know, basically made sheet metal look like all the other 100 series tractors, the 170, 180, 190. The tractor actually features a Perkins powered engine in it. It's not Allis. So this was kind of when a lot of the different tractor manufacturers are starting to look to outsource some of the smaller stuff, and so we wound up with these. But still, nice little tractor, pretty popular back in the day, and there's still quite a few of them around, and I see them for sale quite regularly. Got 3 Allis 5015s. I forget actually who built those for Allis. Maybe I'll look that up. Hold on. So the 5015 was built by a company called Hinomoto out of Japan. They made about 15 PTO horsepower, give or take. So the guy that owns these, he's here every year. He is certainly very much an Allis fan, but he has built some pretty unique pieces that you can hook behind these. Got ourselves a field cultivator, and looks like we got a 6-bottom on land hitch, a 3-bottom over here. And got a nice little disc there too. Pretty unique. Sweet looking late model A John Deere. Again, that's a sound that I certainly grew up with and love to hear. That thing's just kind of purring away. That thing just dialed right in. Very nice little D14. So we got us a Minneapolis Moline G750 gasoline powered. I believe this is the same as a Oliver 1755, and if you double check to confirm that. Covered, I got a couple more Olivers that are popping up here, but I covered them kind of in depth on some videos that I made last year about last year's show. Last year they had the Oliver Harpar Collectors Association show here. It's a national show. And it was just a truck full of Olivers, and I'm pretty sure this tractor was in that one of those videos. So be sure and go back and check that out. A great looking 1655 and 1955 with front wheel assist. 1755 with front wheel assist. Love it with the rollover protective structure on it. That's just really sets these off really nice. Kind of tight quarters here, but you got a early model 2255. It's got the 3150 cat in it instead of the 3208. At least that's what the sticker says. Front wheel assist. Fuel, fender fuel tanks. Looks like it might be kind of a new addition to the tractor because they're unpainted, or the rest of the tractor seems to be painted. So looks like we're kind of putting all the bells and whistles on this one. But this unit seems to be missing 3-point hitch assembly, so she's just strictly for pulling. Well, we do have a PTO, but kind of more of a sort of a Wheatland setup in a way. I sure do like that 1755. That's a sharp looking tractor. So next up we got a Minneapolis Moline G1050. Looks like it's needing a little bit of love, but all in all, pretty straight machine. It's for sale, according to this sign on the front, $3,500. Anybody's looking for one. Not something you see. Not something you see every day around here anymore. Or anywhere, probably. I don't know how many 1050s were made, but certainly wasn't in the numbers like the 1066 International or some of the John Deere's. Honestly, if I had the cash, I'd probably take it home because something different. But it ain't happening today. This is pretty unique too. John Deere 730 high crop. I'm pretty sure I took some pictures of this last year. They did not make many of these. This is one of my videos from last year as well. I don't remember what the production numbers were, but they were pretty low. So I'm running out of battery today. We'll probably come back on Friday and shoot some more video as well. I think I got most of the tractors covered, but there's a lot of other things here to show that I want to share with you. But I am going to finish up with this one. This is a pretty unique piece of farming history right here, I guess. I don't know if it's just how historical it is, but somebody's family history's got to be involved in it. But so what they did, I think we started out with a couple Massey 44s, Massey-Harris 44s. We've dropped a V8 of some sort in there. I'm actually thinking that might be a Ford 302. Could be wrong. I bet you somebody out there can tell me whether I'm right or wrong. But so we got probably at least 100 horsepower there to play with now. Took the back ends of our Massey-Harris. This one got turned around, so we probably took and turned the ring and pinion around so that this will drive in the same direction as that one here. Got this little arrangement here with a I guess there's kind of a transmission on the back end of that that V8. I'm not sure. Yeah, not sure what that is actually, but anyway, got this nice little shaft is probably turning pretty much all the whole time that your tractor's moving, running right between your legs. So you want to make sure that you haven't got. They did put a cover over the top part of it, but make sure you ain't got any loose britches there, because otherwise, you know, it catches a pant leg. That thing's gonna eat your head up. But they dropped it down and driving the front half, and then you got another. Looks like we got a transfer case of some sort here, just connected to the back of that, and then we drive the back end. So, you know, it made it steer hydraulically. She's a little rough looking, but man, it I bet it gets it done. Wonder how so they left the shifting unit on here, so obviously that bent the lever over, so obviously you can change gears on the back end here too. It's kind of unique. Not sure how all that works, but I guess you got to match up your gears for each one. But anyway, I'd love to hear some war stories on how well that actually all worked. Looks good in theory anyway. This thing has been actually a lot of different shows that I've popped up. It's popped up at shows that I've been to around. I've probably seen this thing 10 years ago, quite honestly, but it obviously still runs and moves because it keeps coming to shows. So definitely a very unique piece of engineering. So anyway, I'm going to let y'all go because, like I said, I'm running out of battery, and I'm going to head over to the auction. Probably won't buy nothing, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, y'all have a great day.